Welcome back to OneStopTutorials.com. Monsieur Alibaba back again. How you doing, everyone? Now I've just done my morning routine in Thailand. I go up to my local coffee shop. I've had my chicken and rice. Okay, that's my breakfast. In England, you'd have a good old-fashioned British fry-up, which I do enjoy. But in Thailand, it involves a bit of chicken and rice, a bit of soup, and then I go and have my morning coffee, get the brain cells kicking in. So what we want to get into now is, now we've done the libraries and things like that, what I want to get into is the timeline, okay? And the timeline is really important. This section up here, depending on where it is on yours, some people might have it underneath, but mine's at the top here. This section here is where you're going to do most of your animating, setting keyframes, and allowing graphics to do certain things. And this is an area that we really need to sort of learn and sort of understand, okay? Now the first thing you have here is, okay, you'll notice that I have something here that says layer 1. By default, Flash adds this. Every time you open up a document, there will be a first layer, okay? And we're going to go through on how to add and delete and do more stuff with it. What I'm going to quickly do is, on layer 1, I'm just going to draw, let me Control Command Z that, let me get a nice funky color happening. I'm just going to do a square, I'll do another square, I might just change this to an oval. Something like that. I just want to have something on the stage just so it doesn't look so plain and boring. So we just got three shapes, three bog standard shapes, that's all we got, okay? And you'll notice that each one of these shapes, these three shapes, belong to layer 1, okay? I'm sure you're quite good at this if you've used products like Photoshop and Illustrator, stuff like that. Now let's go through what these actually mean. The first thing here is we have a pencil, and this pencil basically means that this whole layer here, layer 1, is an editable layer, meaning that we can come in and edit it, okay? Next thing along here is you have the eye, and the eye basically means it makes a layer visible or hidden. At the moment this layer is visible because we can actually see it. If I was to left click on the eye, you'll now notice there's a red X, and all our shapes that we had on stage have now disappeared because they're hidden. And what it also shows you next to it, you'll notice the pencil has a line through it, and what that means is now that the information here is not editable, okay? Obviously it's not editable because you've hidden it and you can't actually see it. Now one thing you need to be made aware of here is that anytime you do something like this, you've hidden this layer, when it comes to actually rendering the movie, the information is still actually there. All it's doing basically is hiding it on this layer, so maybe you've got loads of layers, you want to hide some layers and come in and see what you're actually doing, but this doesn't actually hide it when it comes out to rendering the movie. Let's move on. I'm just going to left click on the eye. Next one we got here is pretty obvious. It's a padlock. Basically means at present I can do anything I want to these shapes. If I click this, I can't do anything to these shapes because we've locked the layer. This again comes in really handy later on, locking layers, so you can't actually, if you've got a couple of layers next to each other and you don't want to grab something, lock it first. It comes in very handy. The next thing along here is we have the outline, and the way the outline works is if you left click on this little box at the top here, basically just shows you the outline. Again, when we get into some projects later on and we're working with more layers, this will become more obvious of what it is, but basically it's allowing you just to see the outline of that layer. You can change the color, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a sec. Okay, so working with outlines can become a lot more easier. You can see, okay, that's where this layer is and stuff like that. Next thing across here where it says layer 1, again like all Adobe products, you can double left click on it and you can change the name to what you want, and then you just left click off or hit enter, and that will make the selection. Next thing along here, you'll notice there's like this little bit of paper with a corner up. What this is this is your layer property. If you double left click on that, you'll notice the layer property dialog box comes up, and it's just offering you information similar to what's up here, like the name of your layer. You can change it, show it, lock it, same as these two up here. You've got the types, which we're going to come over in a sec, and you've got that outline, which I was saying up here at the moment is set to green. If you didn't want it to be green, let's say lots of stuff on your stage was green, you can left click on that, you can change the color. As soon as you hit OK, you'll notice that the little box here has changed color, which now means you can change, which now means when you click on the outline, it has changed color to that blue. Okay, let's come back into the page properties and let's have a look what else we got here. What we got here is we got some types. We got mask, folder, and guide. Okay, I'm going to left click on guide and I'm going to hit OK. Now the way guide works is, and you'll notice straight away the icon, which was a bit of paper with the corner turned up, is now become something that looks like a hammer, something like that. Okay. Now what this means is, this is a guide layer. This will not be rendered out when you come to publishing your movie. It's basically just a template. If I go to control test movie, you'll notice that the information isn't showing. Okay, this is just a guide. It basically does what it says. It's just like a template, and later on you'll sort of understand a bit more exactly what this does. So I'm just going to double left click on the properties. I'm going to bring this back to normal. Now what I want to do quickly is I want to show you the next one on the list, which is masked. Okay, I'm just going to make a new layer, and don't worry, we're going to come in and explain what this is in a sec. With that layer selected, I'm going to double left click on the properties, the layer properties, okay, and I'm going to choose mask, okay, and then I'm going to hit OK. Now what this does, and you'll notice again the actual icon, this is what I quite like about it. The icons change so you can know what you're in and what you're actually doing on that layer. Icon changes, okay. Now what this layer means now is this layer is a masked layer, is a layer that's going to mask. Now the way mask works inside of Flash is it's very similar to, let's say, Photoshop, where you're working with whites and blacks. You can use grays and other soft colors like that, but I generally use white as a way of masking, and I'm going to grab myself my rectangular tool. Now with that layer selected, okay, and I've just made a white fill, what I want to do is left click. I want to drag over an area that I want to mask. Now some people think that when you do this, the information that I've just hidden basically doesn't get masked. Well, in Flash it's the opposite. The information that you draw over, so I've just drawn this rectangle over this circle oval here, left click drag, okay, that information will show. Any other information on the stage will not show. So think of this as an actual like window to the actual mask. Anything that's not inside of that shape you drew does not get masked, okay. Let me what I need to do first is, you'll notice that layer 2 is the layer we just made, which is the mask layer. Now to have this section here, this oval here, to have it masked, you need to double left click on test 1, on test here, because test is the layer with all these shapes on. Double left click on the actual layer properties, okay, and what you want to choose is choose masked, and I'm going to hit OK. Now you'll notice the icon change, which is the us icon is telling you basically that this layer is now masked to the layer above. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go to control test movie, and you'll notice that the only thing that come through is that area we drew around, which is this oval, okay. So this is the way that masks work. You choose a layer, you make that layer mask. The layer that you want to have masked to that layer, you would then draw a selection over it, and then you would double left click on the layer properties and choose masked. Another way to check that everything's working is basically just to lock both these layers, and you'll be able to see that rectangle we drew over just shows through. It's like a window, it just shows through this oval, okay. Sort of hope you understand what I'm talking about. What else can I show you? Well, that's pretty, for this tutorial, that's pretty much it. In the next tutorial, we're going to come in a bit more. I'm going to show you some more options to the timeline, and then we can start getting into working with the actual timeline and having some fun with it. Take it easy, guys and girls. Catch you at the next one-stop tutorials. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Check out my website. Any questions, put them on the forum or send me an email. I shall catch you guys and girls at the next Flash tutorials. Laters, everyone.